right, welcome back to another episode of Small Guys Podcast. Today we are doing Logan, 2017 action adventure, 2 hours and 17 minutes. Let's get into the
Not
movie
long
info.
enough.
It's not long enough. In a future where mutants are nearly extinct, an elderly and weary Logan leads a quiet life. But when Laura, a mutant child pursued by scientists, comes to help, he must get her to safety. I'm very excited. This is our first superhero movie rewind ever. It's crazy it took us this long. It's rated R. There's some nudity, some action. Yeah, and we did a rated R
I
one.
figured it was tasteful. Josh was like, "We need a filler," and I've been itching to rewatch Logan.
It is
like,
Brian's recommendation.
Talk about this.
It does have a 94% critic score and a 90% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. What'd you guys think?
Well, this
90s.
is a movie. It's definitely not one worth watching or spending your time seeing.
Yeah, how about you shut up?
Ranking all X-Men movies, definitely bottom.
I gotta try and get us some extra clicks. No, it's a great movie.
This is the best. What would you consider this? Endgame? I feel like you can't compare Endgame.
This is the number 2
Endgame
best hero movie ever fucking made. Number 1. Gotta go Dark Knight every time, but Logan has that close
so
second.
Much better than Dark Knight, I feel like,
dude. Well, again though,
what?
In my opinion, dude.
Dark Knight clears this shit by a
me.
mile.
It's close for me, but Dark Knight does end up clearing. But again, it's close in my book. I'm not gonna say like it cleared it by a mile, but it is close. And yeah, but Logan.
I say you go in for a movie and you want blood, guts, swearing, everything. This is the movie.
Well, and that's what's perfect about this movie is that they were finally able to do it fucking right. They gave us a rated R movie, and it's the final send off of Hugh Jackman, probably the best Wolverine that we're gonna see in our generation.
We thought
Still send off nonetheless. Go ahead,
Brian.
Again, let me say something.
They even came out in that little
video. Give him his flowers, Brian.
Dude, Hugh Jackman. I know you're listening. I know you're a big time listener of the Small Guys podcast.
I mean, Morgan Freeman listens to this shit.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Uncle Morg
before we start.
But no, Hugh Jackman. Literally, you knew this guy was fucking different when he was over 40 years old, posting Instagram videos, getting ready for Wolverine, and he's like, "If the bar ain't bending, you ain't trying." And it's him going for a deadlift, and literally the bar is bending. Like, that's dedication right there. And he was doing this also that way he could fit this role even better. Like,
not only that, but he was training
monster.
Don't forget he was training Preston Barbell to get where he's at.
Yeah. Shout out Mikey.
Yeah, man. Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. Pretty sure you worked out at F3 too.
But like Aiden said, well, he's not gone. But technically, they did do that little 30-second thing where they're like, just to clear the air, this is a different timeline. So I did like how they did that. And again, this is the other thing that we really needed was for him to go up with Deadpool. Because again, we saw Deadpool in Wolverine Origins. We know how that went.
Regardless, though, I think like bringing him back, even if it's in a different timeline and a different variant, it kind of really defeats the purpose for me of this movie.
So again,
I disagree. And I only disagree, Mike, because Deadpool is like such its own little escapade in the whole universe. Like, it's just goofy as hell. Thanks. That I feel like this is the only way that works, in my opinion.
Well,
100%. That's the only way.
What you got to remember though too is these X-Men movies weren't good, like by any means. Like X1 through 3 weren't good.
What?
We know this. We know
X-Men and X2 are awesome.
Okay, look, they're awesome.
X3, Last Stand was not that good.
Look, they're awesome.
That's a bad take.
Hindsight, they're not the best.
That's like a Joel being a villain take.
Chill out. But let me speak. But when it comes to this, though, this is something that fans have wanted for fucking ever. Like, just for us to get the Deadpool movie, basically comes down, there's like rumors that Ryan Reynolds himself leaked the footage onto YouTube because he really wanted that fucking role, and once it hit like 11 million views in 4 days, they were like, holy shit, why did we not make this a thing? And that would have worked better because then we could have got the Logan Deadpool meetup that we desperately needed. Because if you read the comics, or even mine comes from like playing like the Deadpool game, like that whole beef, like Wolverine's in that fucking game, and like they just hate each other, but they work so well together that's why I'm not upset that this would kind of discredit like Logan being the rap all. But again, it is still paying homage to him. Like, and you got to appreciate that.
To pay homage.
Homage.
That's what it sounded.
No, but I mean, that's the thing is, like, of course, we're all excited for him to reprise his role as Wolverine. And I mean, when they announced that, everyone was going nuts. Like you said, it had 11 million views in what, a few minutes. But as I've only seen this is my second time watching this. I've seen it once in the theater, and I saw it once just yesterday. And it's such a great send-off. And that's how it was for years. And I mean, yeah, it kind of defeats the purpose of it, rewatching it, knowing that we're going to see him again. Because, like, you went into the theater and you had no idea what you were getting into. You knew, like, all from the start when he's passed out drunk in his limo and those dudes are trying to jack his car up. Like, I remember sitting down in the theater and watching him go crazy on them, and, like, everyone's just fucking on the edge of their seat for the rest of the movie.
I think that's also because we're not used to rated R superhero movies, and this was
cool.
Yeah. It was raw.
Yeah, and that's the only thing. Like, the only other R-rated movie was Deadpool, but that came after this, right?
Yeah, well, technically,
no, it was 2016.
Was it really?
Wasn't Blade technically rated R?
Well, yeah, but then again, I was thinking
but, like,
about
no one, like,
comparing
really
Blade, but there's, like, blood in Blade, and that's about it. Like, I mean,
the new
vampires
Blade,
and they're dead.
The new Blade's gonna be rated R too, I think.
It better be, dude, if they want to do it right.
But that's the thing is, like, if they do it Logan way, dude, it'll be fucking amazing.
So, couple points for me. So I'm gonna say this now. I've only seen Dark Phoenix and Logan as the best and the worst fucking X-Men movie I could probably see. And to be honest with you, I think the Fox universe in general with the X-Men completely failed. Like, it's pretty obvious.
Well, they even know it, because if you watch, and hopefully you do watch it, but Days of Futures Past, great fucking story. I'm not going to go into all of that. But what happens at the end of it, this is kind of a big spoiler, but not really. By the end of Days of Futures Past, because of what they do, it negates everything that happened up to that point, because they knew that they shit the bed on that.
I mean, that's kind of what DC's going to be doing here.
Well, yeah,
with Flashpoint, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and again, Flashpoint could be their Logan.
But again, you have Ezra Miller, a creep and a weirdo, compared to Hugh Jackman. It's totally
very,
different.
very fair, very fair.
Creeps and weirdos. But either way, you think that I mean, I don't really want to jump the gun, but do we have confidence that Marvel's going to do a good job, redoing the X-Men movies when we eventually get them in 20 years?
So from what I know, they're going to be doing it after King, the two King movies.
So the Marvel universe should be ruined by then.
I mean,
yeah,
absolutely. Everyone should be fucking dead, but
we're gonna dude. Kevin Feige just said that he wants to see it for another 65 years. I said, brother, when I see that, I said, brother, you are whatever you're smoking. I want that shit.
Give him 20 years, and he's gonna be like, damn, this shit sucks. I'm retiring.
Like, I'm sick of this. Agree, and again, maybe this is just me, one of my takes. I almost kind of want to see the X-Men not interact with, like, the MCU. Like, it was cool. It was cool seeing Professor X, like, in what's it called, Multiverse of Madness, but it also felt kind of weird. Like, it felt weird. Like, what I liked about X-Men was, like, we got these X-Men movies. Like, let's go, like, for just this point, like, X1 through 3, right? It was X-Men, and at the same time, we're getting the fucking classic Spider-Man trilogy. And at no point did I think, oh, like, these guys should meet up. Like, at that point, I still read comics, and, like, I knew that they had met up, like, in the greater universe, but at no point in time did I wish that really happened. And I think, like, really what I'm getting at is I just don't want them to rely on the MCU. Like, I want them to go out and do X-Men shit. Like, the X-Men cartoon is one of the best fucking cartoons ever made.
97.
And you don't, and you just,
I watched a couple episodes
interacting. It's good, dude. I remember watching it all the time when it was on TV.
Well, they're remaking it, so I mean,
yeah, I'm hyped for that.
Well, the thing is like, I mean, I haven't read any comics, but the best comics are with our Marvel cast and the X-Men together. Like Spider-Man and X-Men, or Spider-Man and Fantastic Four, all those guys, like, they all merge. And like, you got, like, you can't say you don't want them together, because if they do it the right way, it's gonna be amazing.
See, that's the thing. So it comes down to them doing it the right way, and then them not, like, marveling it is what I'm worried about. You know,
and
where it becomes too fucking big, and then it takes away from the fact that we're finally getting a good X-Men movie. You know, that's what I'm mostly worried about.
I want to hear your opinion in a second, but I think for me personally, I wouldn't mind them keeping the X-Men kind of just building up their origins, No pun intended there.
Nice.
But I want them I kind of want to see some origin stories for a new Wolverine, Storm and all that stuff. And then they're kind of meet up with the MCU and almost on like a different universe, almost like variants for the X-Men, and they merge together. I think something like that would be really cool. But just like Aiden said, Spider-Man and Fantastic Four and Wolverine and Hulk and stuff like that, those combos, if they do it right and not MCU it, by all means, that would be the sweetest fucking thing we could possibly get, to be honest with you.
Real quick before Josh even goes, like, we say that like, oh, they could bring Spider-Man and all that, but if we haven't even gotten the duos or like the groups that we want to see already at this point, 20 plus years in, like, what can we expect?
I just don't want to see like Miss Marvel and Wolverine teaming up, bro. Like, I'm sorry, nobody, like, no offense, but nobody wants to fucking see that shit. And it's not in the comics, and
you just spoke it into existence,
bro. But if I see that shit, I'm gonna be like,
dug yourself. Someone's gonna be throwing ass with She-Hulk.
Like,
also, Storm, Halle Berry, love her. One of the best castings ever. I know she's not even in Logan, but
Catwoman. You seen Catwoman before?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. But Josh, I want to hear your opinion.
Well, back to the movie.
Yeah,
Logan.
I guess we can go back to
Let's talk about the movie.
Let's talk
really quick though. I want to hear your opinion on the whole X-Men and into the MCU.
I mean, yeah, I've waited 20 years for them to be with the Avengers.
But do you want to
wait another 20?
Yeah,
buddy?
I want them with the Avengers.
But do you
wait
want
another
to see
20.
like origins or just them blending right away?
Nah, blend it right away.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's fucked up, dude.
Yeah.
They have an opportunity to do a good job here, like what we got.
I
with
trust the way
Logan.
they'll do it, though.
I
We'll
don't.
see.
I really
I think,
don't.
I think
have no
them
faith.
saving it in the back pocket's probably what's going to save the MCU if they kind of fail with this King storyline. But who knows? Anyway,
Yeah.
Logan.
So, what'd you guys think of the Charles stuff?
Dude, Charles
all
was
that
I think
storyline.
he absolutely kills it in this movie,
Mhm.
dude. Patrick Stewart, the funniest shit, rewatching the second time when they're in the silo and
And
he
he's
goes,
doing the Taco Bell ad.
yeah, the Taco Bell shit, bro. I was dying.
The cheesy gordito crunch.
Get it while supplies last.
Oh, no, it was the chalupa.
Yeah, dude.
That's genius
fucking good, dude.
brand advertising.
Yeah, good marketing right there.
Yeah.
I like how
and
this
I
movie's
love
not
too-
futuristic.
Yeah, because again, you'll see when you get around to watching it, Days of Futures Past, Essentials are a thing, and like they've taken over, and it's all futuristic. But in this one, again, because Days of Futures Past, it takes everything back.
Here.
I agree, it is tasteful. But that's why this one works, and it's not all super futuristic.
But
But
the
it
best
takes-
thing about this movie is it's their take on like a spaghetti western too,
Yeah,
which is sick.
But
which
Logan
Josh-
takes place in 2029. Days of
Yeah.
Future Past takes place in 2024. So this
Yeah.
actually takes place farther in the future. But they did that on purpose that way so those movies can still be somewhat canon and this can be separate from those, which is really cool. And I love the storyline that there's like no more mutants around. I love that.
Dude, the
That's really cool
storyline is
too.
perfect in this movie.
Yeah.
And imagine
Yeah.
what they could have done with like the New Mutants. I think that it was kind of off of this, was it not? I haven't seen it. But
No.
imagine like all those kids like dude going and doing that shit, like they could have done so much better.
If they
And I know New
tied it
Mutants
in
was a flop.
the correct
Yeah.
way, but that, bro, I don't even want to see that shit, bro, because
No.
that shit got pushed back for so long.
I know Anya
It was
Taylor
for
Joy and the dude from Stranger Things is in it. That's
Yeah,
about
for
it.
so many years, that thing got.
What the fuck
I
is
think
his
it was
name?
like 4 or 5 years that movie got pushed back. Am I wrong?
Yeah, and that's why everyone was just kept building the excitement, and then eventually it hit that peak, and then it got delayed another two more times. Everyone's like, "Fuck that, I'm not watching it."
Yeah,
I
I
remember
genuinely
I
forgot
was
that
not
came
excited
out.
for it.
I didn't watch it. So
No, but I just love how dark this movie is, man. Every time you think that like something good's gonna happen, like the most feel good part is when Charles is in the bed at the house. And he's
Yeah.
I like the
like,
dinner.
this is the best. Yeah, he's like, this is the best day of I've ever had in a very long time, but it's
Mhm.
undeserving. And then he goes into that like monologue saying that, and then you see X-24 pop up and
Yep.
fucking
yeah,
put the
X24,
claws in
that
his
little
chest,
fucker.
bro. Oh my
And then Calibrand going out like a G.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
We lose
Absolutely blowing
Charles
himself
and
up.
Calibrand right there.
Yeah, and they
Caliban.
murked that whole fucking
Yeah.
family.
Dude, so crazy.
I
But
couldn't believe it.
Stephen Merchant, we've seen him
Mhm.
in multiple different roles. He kills Caliban.
Mhm. Yeah,
So good,
you
dude.
want to know where I recognized him from? He was actually using a movie with Storm in a little skit in movie
64.
43.
Oh, 63.
43.
43.
43,
My
yeah.
bad. Doesn't he have the balls on his chin or something?
Yeah.
No, Hugh
No, that's
Jackman
Hugh
has the
Jackman.
balls on
That's
his
Hugh
chin.
Jackman.
Who's
He's
also
the one that
they're
he's
the one at the
horse
Mexican
thief.
restaurant. Yeah.
I've seen
Oh, yeah.
The plastic
I've seen
surgery
Merc
shit.
Hant and like a whole bunch of other. I remember him from fucking Tooth Fairy. That's where I
Is he
remember
in,
him.
is he in The Watch with Ben Stiller and those guys?
I believe he is.
Yeah.
He's the other neighbor, isn't he?
He's in
Yeah.
Hall Pass and movie 43.
Oh, he's funny as shit.
He's funny as hell, man. He's really good at playing like that nerd kind of take
Mhm.
advantage of type character, you know?
Yeah.
Don't forget about Richard E. Grant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goat.
Yeah, dude,
He's
he
the
played a
doctor.
really good like evil scientist.
Oh yeah. It was
Dude, when he
sick.
gets just shot in the throat like that, when he's like monologuing, is so funny.
I see that's where I really liked Donald Pierce, the guy with the robot hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was really good. He killed it.
He was
man.
good. He was just such good at playing an asshole. Sorry.
So me not
so
watching,
good.
like not knowing about all the other X-Men movies, why is it such a big deal? Is he like in
What?
all those other ones? Because remember when
No.
he first meets
No.
Logan, he gives him the card and he looks at it and he sees the
No.
last name and he's like,
So,
"Fuck."
but the thing is, the card is I'm gonna I want to say Alkaline, but is it Alkaline? It's something like that. Alkaline
the company
is
that
the company
did that
that
shit
made
to him.
Logan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
With the
that's why he was
adamantium in his
upset.
body and
Yes,
shit.
and that's why he goes, the guy that did this to me is the guy that put this fucking poison in me.
Yeah.
And then he
Yeah.
goes,
Makes
I
sense.
killed him. That was a funny scene too. He goes, I think I killed him. He goes, yeah, you did do that.
So that's why at the end when he kind of sees the stuff that all the kids gave Wolverine with the in the
Mhm.
green bottle, the green
Yeah.
potion, he kind of looks at it like and he shakes his head a little bit.
Yeah, he knows that he's fucked. He knows that Logan took it. He knew that Logan's on like a suicide mission now to protect these kids and let them out. And that
The
scene,
wood
dude,
scene.
that's up there with the fucking The Boys season 2 wood scene. Those are the only
Yeah.
two movies I can compare, or show a movie, I guess.
So that is one thing we are spoiled with The Boys because everything that we've ever wanted in Marvel obviously was in Logan, but now we get it every year, year and a half, 2 years with The Boys, which is so good.
Can we do Invincible?
Yeah, bro. You're late to the game.
I know I'm late to the game, but
Guys,
I
we're
swear to
talking
God,
about
Thrones after?
everything but the movie Logan.
we're fucking talking about it. I don't know what you're saying.
Boys
Anyway.
are riffing.
Anyway, Invincible is I think the first 100 out of 100 that I will
It's a
ever
great,
give anything.
it's a great show. It
Hey, is
Besides
Brock
that.
Lesnar in this movie?
No.
Is he the first one that
no.
gets his
I don't
head
think
chopped
so.
off?
No,
by,
it's
By the limo?
X23? No, not
Oh.
no. When she
Oh, when
comes
she
out to the
walks out
crowd
with
and
the head.
throws Brock Lesnar's head.
that shit was sweet as hell.
It looks like
dude,
Brock
so
Lesnar.
that fucking intro though is just such a good, like, this is what you're in for scene, because again, it's Logan drunk, like it's canon that he's been a drunk like throughout everything that has to do with him at all. And like even at the end she's like, well, what do? You made, like, you got me here. He's like, well, find a bar first. Love that. But then he said, there's like, come on guys, not the car, you're gonna strip the bolts off, like it's gonna be like just a headache for him, you know, like he knows that he's not dying and he knows that they're not taking this car. It's just
Yeah.
something that he's gonna have to worry
It
about
is just
later.
an inconvenience for
Yeah.
him.
And
Just
then
don't shoot the car, and then he jumps in front of the shit.
he
bullets.
literally eats a bullet so that way the car doesn't get fucked up. And
if
again,
someone-
and then you see him cut off the fucking arm, and you're like, "That's it. We're here. This is it. We got the movie we've been fucking waiting for."
So if I'm one of those criminals and I watch this man that's in front of his car jump in front of the bullets to protect his car, I'm gonna probably walk away at that
I'll
point.
run it.
But that's
bro.
the thing is,
I
wait,
feel like
wait.
They fucking
Who-
shoot him, and he gets back
Wait.
up, and they try
No,
to
no,
fight
no.
him.
The stupidest shit is why are you even doing anything in a world where there are fucking mutants?
Well, I
You
guess
know, there's
again-
people out there
Whoa.
with
Well, again,
storm
mutants-
powers.
mutants
and-
The
have
premise-
been
the premise
killed
is
off
that-
at this point, and that
Yeah, the
there's
premise is
no-
that they're all
there's
done.
been no mutants born since like roughly 2006, because
But that doesn't mean there's none out there. Come on. It's not like dinosaurs.
the thing is that one, they went into hiding, like how we see literally two of the best fucking mutants around, and then on
So it's
top
like
of
The
that, it's like
Incredibles.
mutants
Three.
would be popping up around this time because like it's like when a kid goes through puberty, that's when their mutant powers show, and that's when they realize roughly from 2006 to like 2019, then it would be like, oh, like we haven't seen any new mutants, and now here we are in 2029, really no mutants popping up. And again, Charles can't even really talk to any of them, and that's the only reason we know about Laura / X-23.
What did you guys think of her acting?
She was good,
man. That was like her first role ever.
How old was she in this movie? Do we know? Like the actual actress?
She was young.
She is currently 18 right now, so it puts her at like
holy fuck, good
13.
for her.
Yeah,
12.
13 or so.
Fucking killed it,
dude. Hey, the funniest shit. Every time I see it,
she doesn't have many lines.
No,
yeah,
she looks
but
just
for
like
an
Sydney
actual
from
Spoke
Scary
Spanish.
Movie.
That's true.
Hear me? Every time I look at her, she looks like Sydney from Scary Movie, man. I just crack up laughing. Black hair.
Yep. That's
like
funny
her,
as hell. I knew she kind of looked familiar.
dying.
I was like,
I'm looking at her, dude. Especially watching, I'm like, oh my god.
Well, it's funny now too, seeing this movie and seeing like the little mutant facilities they have, and literally it's like Stranger Things, but this was even like pre-Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Like, well, at least till we got to that story part. Like, I think the first season was definitely out by then.
But when you see that video of like the mom or the nurse, whatever, taking a video, like secret body cam, like, dude, it's just crazy. Like, it's such a good story, man. Like, you're like, oh shit, like what's going on? And then you get to see all those like individual kids that like did escape their powers and stuff, and it's just
now, Mikey, as a first-time watcher, did you think that there was actually going to be other kids alive where they were headed, or did you think that it was all bullshit?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, it's pretty I don't want to say pretty obvious, but it's pretty obvious that they all escaped somehow, because how else would X-23 be alive, you know?
Right. But also,
you could make the argument
she's Wolverine's fucking daughter, so like she could be
the
like
nurse
the
snuck her
survivor.
out.
Yeah.
Well, my question is, on watching this, is this the first X-Men movie where they note the comics or mention them?
Yeah, because again,
so I love that
point,
twist.
I mean, outside of
I love that twist too.
It's so sick.
Yeah,
He's like, oh,
but Deadpool,
we got an X-Men fan,
Deadpool knows
Charles.
that he's in a fucking movie, so that's even more different.
Yeah. Well, you know what's
but
cool
I'm saying in any other X-Men movies.
No,
they don't mention like comics or any of that. That's why I really love that.
Funny at the end when they're snipping his beard and they fucking make him look like the Wolverine beard from the comics.
Yeah,
you know how funny it would be dude. I would have been. This movie would have been so dog shit if they would have thrown him in a yellow suit somehow. I would have been so mad.
The kids make it because they're like, that's their hero.
Yeah, but it is funny too because he hits that line about the comic book where he's like, half of this shit didn't even happen, and the way that it happened did not go down like this.
It's a bunch of thumb-sucking baby whistles or some shit.
Yeah, he goes, oh, we got an X-Men fan, Charles.
Well, you know what I really like is the coordinates within the comic is the coordinates that they use to meet up.
Yeah,
and
that's
Wolverine's like, oh, that's bullshit, you know, blah blah blah. Like, this is like, why are we going here? And then it's funny because they used that as inspiration. I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing too, is like in the story when he's like, no, it's a made up coordinate, like no one's going there. But the only people that they're meeting up with are the kids that obviously saw the comic.
Yeah,
very convenient too. She made it 2 days before they were gonna leave.
But, it's cinema. It's cinema.
I'm trying to think.
I feel like most movies would do a day of, or maybe they're running a couple minutes behind and need to hurry and make it
right.
So, I liked how the movie felt like a road trip, like completely. Like one of my favorite parts is the hotel scene, which you didn't even mention yet, and like when he's having his seizure or whatever, and all the guards are pointing their guns at him.
Everything. Well, everything's frozen, like the whole hotel, everything. And because Logan's a mutant, and again, good timing on his part, he shows up and goes, Charles, and he has to make his way up there. And it's powerful to the
point. You know, people can't breathe.
He's like shoving himself off the wall and using his claws to stick, you know, because of how powerful it is. Like, that's fucking so cool.
So what movie is the incident where they keep bringing up?
It doesn't. They never show it.
Yeah, that was the thing. They never really say it.
Just mention it.
But because the way that they mentioned it the first time, they have him listed, his brain listed as a weapon of mass destruction.
WMD. And then I love the part where on the radio when they're in the car leaving, they're like, "Oh, it's just the same incident in like 600 people died, 8 mutants, and and then it cuts out."
Yep.
So that's like another thing. So yeah.
And then dude, like watching him like take his claws and like put it in people's skulls in slow motion.
Dude,
so cool.
What about when he goes to first
and you
pop
see
the
like
claws and he has to like reopen
he's got like an ingrown. He's got an ingrown
because it does hurt him, and now because this poison is in his body and actually killing him, and now Technically, he's
87.
146. Is that what it is? But mentally, he's 252.
Or dude, he might be over. No, he's over 200 because he was in the Civil War.
Well, because mentally though, he's 252 years old because of him going back like those years.
Yeah,
is what it comes down to, which again confusing, but just watch that timeline video. And that guy does a really good job of making you laugh and informing you of what happens.
Well, that's the best thing is like, especially at the end, like obviously I don't know if you guys want to get there right now, but he's like, this is how it feels. It's not like, oh, like having a family or having a daughter. It's like, this is how dying feels, because he's never had that feeling before.
No,
but I do love how even from the beginning, obviously they show him like a drunk. You think that, oh, he's just old and he's like an alcoholic. That's why he's like not rehealing or doing shit like that as fast. But you realize that there's poison in his body. Yeah. And then on top of the other poison, and then I mean, even when X-24 and him are going toe to toe, and he's like, X-24 is getting slashed and immediately rehealing, and then he's like fucking gushing blood when he jabs him in the armpit, nasty as fuck. Yeah, and then you see his arm like hanging off, like he's about to fall off, and then he fucking
throws him over him. That part, I totally forgot about that. I was like, oh shit, his arm's gotta hurt.
Yeah, he's right in the armpit. It's like,
and then it was cool too, because after that they meet that cool ass doctor which wanted to help, but couldn't. And he goes, "There's not many of you left," and I get that. And then he's like, "You got to turn yourself into the hospital." And I was like, "All right, dude, there's not a lot of people left, and you want to turn them into a hospital? That's fucking silly."
Well, then he offered to help him after. Maybe I can run some passes, what he said.
But he knew that there was no time.
You're right.
It was a ticking clock for him. There was nothing they could really do.
The only thing is, like, with the comics being out and all that, how are people like in the casino not paying attention? Like, they're not popular.
Yeah, for some reason, I thought I remembered the scene of Charles making them hit a jackpot and make their escape to like cause chaos, but that's totally a different movie.
Yeah, it is a different movie.
The Sunseeker, if they did the jackpot.
Well, they think everyone like in the world thinks Charles dead. Like that's the story they're going with. So, and then too, Wolverine kind of does look pretty different than what he used to look like. But you guys do know that this
Charles in a wheelchair, same looking guy.
This story is loosely based off a comic, and I bought it after watching the movie. I tried looking for it, I couldn't find it, but it's Old Man Logan, I think it's called, or Wolverine, Old Man Logan. And what it was, from what I remember, it was like old Wolverine, and the world has like pretty much come to an end, and he's with Hawkeye, who's blind, and they're in like the Spider-Man mobile, like cart, and it's like it is actually a pretty cool comic though. So I wanted to mention that like the character became so popular that they ended up making the movie because of it. So
we should also mention that because this did have that Western vibe, that the DVD release had the black and white version to make you feel like it even more, which is like such a cool idea. They're like, hey, let's just fuck around and do this for people that actually want to buy it and see it like this.
Well, that's the best part about like watching or reading about it, is that they try to make this movie as natural as possible. And you can tell, I mean, even from any shot, like it doesn't look like a CGI mess. Like some of the fight scenes you can kind of tell, but other than that, I mean, it's great.
No, and another part I like a lot too, because I don't know if you guys saw like the Wolverine from 2014. That is that movie and this movie are I think they are connected. But
you see the katana on over his bed and all that.
Yeah. So what I liked is in that movie, because I liked Wolverine a lot. And I saw that movie a bunch before seeing like Logan.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I remember when they, I thought about it after the fact. I think I probably saw a YouTube video on it at the time, but I even thought about it when I rewatched this movie. I was like, in the Wolverine, they tell him that Logan that in the future he's gonna die with his heart in his hand. And you think, well, the dude regenerates health, like, that'd be sweet. You're thinking of it actually like literally his heart in his hand, and he dies with the Lord's hand in his hand.
Yeah,
he's got his heart. So I always thought that was like really cool symbolism. And I know the director for this movie, James Mangold, tried to like make everything somewhat canon and not like completely disconnect it. So it like works in between movies, which is really cool.
That's just the craziest thing is after like watching this, like how come we haven't gotten any good ass X-Men movie after this?
Well, the rights got fucking moved. So they're saving X-Men for post.
They're just keeping it in the bank till the fucking
they
starts.
Which again,
Hugh Jackman said
sucks.
Hugh Jackman said like he knows the Wolverine character is so popular and that'll eventually obviously get recasted. But he said he would think it'd be cool if they did like an X-23 thing where it was like a female lead, like based off of this movie, which was
They
I
could
mean,
have.
hinted
She's
to.
alive.
Do you remember his first recommendation to pick up the mantle after he left in the event that they wanted to continue Fast as Hell? His
No.
first one was Tom Hardy. And I
Oh,
thought
really?
about that. And I go, Tom Hardy would be so
Sick.
fucking sick as a
Well,
Wolverine.
imagine if Hugh Jackman was Joel. in The
Right?
Last of Us, dude. It's fucking perfect.
Yeah.
It said
It'd
some
have
Last
been
of Us
so
vibes.
good, dude.
Honestly, like I will say this when it comes to casting in the future for not only like the MCU but like DC and just all comic book characters, I really want to see some new actors. Honestly, I really don't want them to kind of just rely on the major names and the big names because I do think that it pulls away from a little bit of the character, to be honest with you, because you're like, oh my god, that's
Yeah, what
Tom
star-studded
Cruise, or
cast are they going to put in now?
that's Tom Hardy. Oh my gosh, so
Mhm.
you don't actually care about the character. So I think they're gonna find a good mix, though, at least in the MCU, and I have all the faith in the world in James Gunn to do that too.
Yeah, I mean, no, they definitely will do that.
Yeah.
At least some of the up and coming actors, like people with maybe like a couple good movies out that did really well,
like
showed good
Timothy
performances.
Chalamet should have been Spider-Man.
Fuck you.
No,
That's the guy.
I would
from,
honestly not even watch that shit. If I just had to
Hell no.
Not even saying he's a bad actor, it just doesn't.
Tom
seem
Holland's
doesn't
nerdy
fit.
ass was the perfect cast.
Talk about the next Spider-Man.
the kid from Sex Education was supposed to be
I was gonna
Butterfield,
say,
whatever his name is. He was
yeah.
supposed to be too. He was like top 4
The like,
considered
British kid from
for
Bandersnatch.
He was hurt.
That kid.
He was hurt too because he said he really
Yeah.
wanted the role. I would
Something
fuck up.
Butterfield or something.
I would be mad
do it
too
with
if I
the
didn't
last
get the
name
role
like
of
that.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Butterscotch.
Yeah, I forgot what his name was. But I know we kind of alluded to the farm scene, I guess. I mean, that I thought the part where X-24 kind of like,
I was
puts his
waiting
claws
for that.
into Charles.
Someone to say
Yeah,
that.
dude, when Logan's like first instinct is to ignore everything and go check on Charles, and then he just goes, "It wasn't me. It wasn't me." Like he needs him to know that he wasn't the one that did that to him. Was like,
yeah.
damn. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like that
but
whole scene.
I feel like you got to also mention, I mean, X-24 just comes in there and literally murders this innocent family. Like
That's the thing is we don't even know that he exists. And I remember watching it for the first time. You're like, oh, that is Logan. Like he's just having a conversation, and then out of nowhere, like she's looking at him weird, and like obviously she knows. I don't know how she doesn't tell. Like he just completely looks different.
He's like a young version.
And you would have thought that maybe Charles would have like been able to sense something or do something, or even Caliban would have been like he could have like smelt another mutant. But
Caliban was trapped.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
They're using him.
He didn't. X-24 didn't show up until Logan and the dad were gone. Yeah,
and also can we talk about that real quick?
Yeah, they didn't talk though.
Logan bullies.
He just came in and murdered. He didn't. X-24.
No, that's what I'm saying. But when I remember being in the theater watching it the first time, you're like, "What's going on?" You have no idea that X-24 is even in the movie.
Yeah.
Because Charles is speaking
just
for a couple
you're
seconds.
You're like, what the hell is going on? And you get the best scene in the entire movie.
Yeah, but really quickly, when they went away about the water situation, and then that dick shows up, and Logan breaks his gun. It's like, even if X-24 didn't show up and murk that family, like that guy was gonna come back after Logan was gone and fucking kill that family because Logan just hit him in the face.
Regardless.
Yeah. So
and
like
then
that family was
on by X-24.
Yeah, that which was funny as hell.
So crazy, man. Even when the dad impales X-24 like on the tractor, you like think that he's dead, but he's not.
So I wanted to mention that I like how he still turns to shoot Logan.
Yep.
You assume probably because
he's a mutant. Mutants are supposed
he's
to
a
be
mutant,
extinct.
and his family all just got murked.
Because
so he's upset regardless, even if Logan wasn't the bad guy, he's still
justified.
Like, yeah.
See, I always thought that the dad, instead of pulling the thing on Logan, pulling the gun on him, I thought he kills himself with the gun.
I thought that would have been a good twist.
I watched that and I was like, damn, I thought he was gonna do it. But then he just keels down.
But
I think that would have been a lot darker. That's already a dark ass scene. And the director alone was like, how did we get away with this? Like that scene, like introducing that family, having a nice family meal,
Charles saying this is the best day ever that he doesn't deserve. And I mean, I guess he's right because he's the one that wanted to go there. And Logan was like, no, like, we should go, Dad. And he was like, let's have a dinner. She deserves to sleep nicely for once.
And then, like, I mean, with that incident before, he killed 600 people, 608.
It was an accident. It was little whoopsies.
Dude, and they're reminiscing about the school and everything over dinner. It's just like such a nice
moment. I love it because I got kicked out a few times.
Special ed school. That's what he calls it.
For special people. Yeah.
Because that's one way to call it. But even
so good.
What's her name?
Laura.
Yeah, Laura starts like laughing. She doesn't even know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, again, they probably wrote about it in those fucking comics.
Well, she knows from the comics, yeah.
I would have
family
thought
dinner and then X-24 shows up.
I would have thought that Miss Munson would have kind of looked at things like seeing like Wolverine slap Laura's hand and stuff like that, the way he was acting towards her. I would have thought that she would have been a little bit more suspicious of them just in general.
Right.
Well, I'm sure she would have in the morning or later in the timeline.
I know, but
I like
kind
when
of
taken out.
When the farm folks show up after they've met with Logan broke the gun, and they come into that confrontation with X-24, and it's very clear that there's like also he's like carrying a girl that's tied up, and they like no one even says anything about that. It's just like, oh yeah, it is what it is.
She's like actually
really?
screaming.
Yeah, they like literally like he's got her with.
And there's a big ass van with a fucking cage on the back of it, and a doctor and a guy with a robot arm.
Unfazed.
You're talking about Laura. Oh, I'm stupid. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about Laura.
I thought you said like the guys that pulled up were carrying a woman.
Oh no. X-24's got Laura, and the guys that pull up like unfazed by that.
Well, they don't care, man.
Well, they also didn't really notice that he was there because the one guy goes, "Hey, there's the tough guy," and they go, "Oh, we'll give you $5,000 a week to be our muscle."
They didn't. Yeah, I guess they didn't pick up that because it's like, yeah, totally different person.
$5,000 a week.
He goes, "We'll give you $5,000. That's a week, by the way." I'm like, not bad offer.
That is pretty good.
It was like
great offer.
Sure.
I'm like Logan, you should consider that first, and then he kills him.
They sit him down there in an office. He signs the papers at the kitchen table, and then fucking goes on to kill him.
Signy Day, they have a hat on.
Puts his fucking
Logan. They should have cut back to Logan and be
X-25 is the businessman. He comes in.
All he wanted was money, man.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, watching that for the first time, Mike, Andrew, did you watch this for the first time or no?
No, I saw this in theaters.
But like, dude, that was by far the craziest scene that I've ever seen. Like watching a superhero movie.
What?
That farm scene.
The farm scene?
Yeah,
well, because again, we know that innocent people die in all these movies, but to actually see it now and to see that there's a direct correlation to who
you're starting to get attached to him a little.
Yeah,
exactly. Like a slasher horror movie.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and literally
it's definitely darker.
Dude, the fucking kid comes in and he just stabs him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the mom's calling for him down the hall.
And then she fucking shoots him, and then she's like, "Oh!" She's like screaming.
Damn, dude. No, this movie's so good.
No, it's definitely it's a darker scene for sure. I thought there was maybe a little bit too much going on during the farm scene. It might be a bad take. Yeah, personally, for me,
I thought they did a good job of focusing in on what was happening. Like
Especially
there were different just like points. All of a sudden, like all this shit's happening. Like what the fuck? Like
when you least expect it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I think the last fight with X-24 is sweet too.
Oh, yeah. I like
the claws go through the armpit. Like,
yeah, it's a gory movie, but it's not
that was
so gory. I feel like it's the perfect balance of like it's gory, it's brutal, but it's not like close your eyes and turn away. No. At least for me. No. And normally I'm not someone who likes gore, but this is like that perfect balance.
After that opening, we knew what type of treat we were in for, and we knew that if we're watching a dude get his arm cut off, then we know what
Daphne's cutting heads off and throwing it at the
people. Which was fucking sick. He's like waving to Laura, and Laura just comes out, tosses the head. That was awesome.
That might be my favorite scene of everything here because that shit that was like I was like All right, what's this little girl about? Like, what's X-23
Yeah,
about?
and like
Did
she was
get
smart
that?
enough to like listen and check the camera and get up from her seat
No, she's
before they
just
could
sitting
come
there like
in.
this. Just
She was
Yeah.
just sitting there.
watch it.
Just
eating
She knows she's about to
cornflakes.
fuck him up.
Yeah.
And then the best part is when they show her foot claws, like, oh, come
Yep.
on. And then
Yep.
she just starts
Badass.
whooping even more.
And
ass.
then, well, then it's cool too because they take the mutation even a step further, where he's like, Logan, you know, that's like a trait of like a female. That then he goes, that would line up with that. And that was like,
He's
holy
getting
shit, like these
scientific on him.
evolutions are like coming even further, which again, it makes sense because first X-Men is technically, well, again, when you go all the way back, Wolverine was around pre-Civil War. So it's like mutants have been a thing. And now you see this evolution where now there's like a girl Wolverine, but she actually took on female traits of like an actual Wolverine. Love that.
I got a quick question. So, how did that company get all of the genetics from like all the X-Men and women?
In
Well,
other
Well, they've been
movie in
running
it,
tests.
In other
They've
movies,
been
you
running
see
tests
them,
on
they have
mutants
Wolverine,
for
like,
decades.
they take his blood and shit.
Yeah.
Wolverine's barber actually works for the company.
Mhm.
I was just
I think
curious
it's
because
Tom
like
No,
Brady
I
to
know.
him.
I don't think they
The
really
Ted Tom
explain it.
Brady.
Yeah.
'cause they don't
I mean,
explain it in the
they
movie.
do
Beat him off in his
to
sleep.
an extent because again, there's I don't even know how many movies, but the ones with Wolverine, they do go back into like flashbacks and stuff, and like they'll see him. The main guy is Stryker that like turned him into who he is, and that's like where that happens. And I don't, it's not like Deadpool where he signed up for that, you know, because he had cancer and nothing else going on, and he was like, "Fuck it, like they could either fix me or I die." This one, I think, so. From Days of Futures Past, it ends with, and again, you got to remember, Days of Futures Past altered like the whole timeline. But the way that one ends, Magneto literally fucking impales Logan with like a bunch of steel and like wraps it all around him and then just throws him into the fucking river. And then Stryker finds him. They fish him out of the water. But then this is where it gets weird and the fucking storyline gets botched and they don't explain it. The Stryker that picks him up like blinks and the eyes go yellow, which is like a hint that it's Mystique. Like that's her like calling. And so it's like Mystique is playing Stryker who found him, but then the next movie is them seeing Wolverine with Stryker, and that's just a little cameo. So it's like, at what point did the handoff happen to the real Stryker? We don't know. But again, that's like where they would have like his DNA, and that's why it's his daughter without it being his daughter.
And in Logan, he loses his antimanium claws at the end too. So he should have bone claws technically. But
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole thing's a mess. When you really think of that timeline, it is a huge mess.
It's
Even after they
definitely a
fix it,
mess.
it's a mess.
They definitely butchered it.
They're fun though. If you
They're
haven't
fun.
seen them, if you're in the same camp as Aiden and Mikey and Bells, have you seen them all?
Nope.
All
I've
right,
seen.
well,
I couldn't
That's
tell
crazy.
you which
That's the
ones
thing. Like,
I've
I remember
seen.
him getting thrown in the river.
I've seen a
by
couple
Magneto.
of them.
Like, but I had to rewatch them.
yeah, no,
That's
all
crazy.
those ones are good because again, like I said, it's like
What's
I
the
grew
one
up
with
on,
Gambit in the alleyway?
Origins.
Origins a
That's
bad
a
one.
good ass
Origins.
movie.
No,
That's the good
They-
one. I
they
was
like-
what
they
year
like
did it come
hyped
out?
up
Because that's when I
Gambit.
saw it. I thought it was
2009.
Yeah, I thought it was sick when I was 9 years old.
Yeah,
So I got a question.
yeah.
Then.
That big ass dude in the boxing ring.
Yeah.
And then
Juggernaut.
that's where you meet
Yeah.
Sabretooth, right?
No, you guys are.
They
It's
were-
like his name's Bob or something. He could just take a bunch of hits, and he's like this huge dude. And I don't know.
What's the
I
one
can't
where
really
you-
explain his power
What
set, but
movie do you meet Sabretooth?
Sabretooth is
Jen-
in Origins. I thought
Yeah.
you were talking about
That's
the
it.
boxer dude.
No, I'm
Yeah,
talking
and
about
it's
Sabretooth.
played
Okay,
by
okay.
it's
Yeah,
played
he
by
is in there.
he's played by the dude from fucking Goon.
Yeah, that's the part where me and Brian are talking about where they served in Civil War because they were soldiers
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they just don't age.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, Sabretooth is such a bitch in like the actual X series, like 1 through 3. I hate him.
Yeah.
so
What were you saying, Mike?
Wolverine never puts on the yellow suit though, right?
Never.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's teased at the end of Logan though.
Yeah,
that he gets
they
it,
hit
but
it.
he-
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
Daniel Radcliffe will when he becomes Wolverine though.
Oh, shut
Dude,
the hell up.
I don't want them to do that, bro.
No.
Who would?
are you guys ready to get into trivia?
Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
it.
what you got, Joshy?
Okay, there's some good ones. Sir Patrick Stewart lost 21 pounds to play Charles Xavier as elderly and sick. Stewart claimed that he had steady weight since he was a teenager and he never deliberately lost weight before. Hugh Jackman genuinely held Stewart in all the scenes of of Wolverine carrying Professor X. That's pretty cool. When Charles Xavier suffers from his seizures, Hugh Jackman did not act as if he was being pushed away. Instead, he was held by a rope that was being pulled by two men in order to make it more realistic and portrayable.
And you know that he was just moving those guys.
Oh yeah, there's points where he was moving.
You need a damn horse.
Hugh Jackman. Sorry, go ahead.
No, the one thing I like about learning when he was like working out for this role as Logan again, being 40 plus years old, he's all natural, according to him and his like dietitians and all that. So I mean, that's
even Ryan Reynolds is like, it's hard to keep up with him. That's what he just said recently.
Because
they're both training.
Animal.
You guy's a beast.
Hugh Jackman induced. Yeah,
good plug. Good plug.
Well, actually, this one is. I have a question for Mike after this trivia here. Hugh Jackman induced dehydration for 48 hours prior to filming scenes of Wolverine shirtless, losing the water weight. He added that the method is dangerous and no one should attempt it at home. Jackman uses the same technique 5 years earlier to create the look for Prisoners.
Nice
character in Prisoners. So, Mike, I know, people in the MMA and boxers and shit will do this. It really isn't healthy, right?
Oh, 1,000,000% no.
Mike, you doing shit like this during wrestling?
Oh yeah, I mean that's different though because it's more weight based. But he's going for a look, and that's
48 hours though.
That's what a lot of bodybuilders do. They'll do it for even an extended period of time, and then they'll carb up and drink all this water before the show to look more fuller, and things of that nature. So by all means, it's definitely not healthy. At least sustainable in a sustainable sense of like a long-term health, obviously.
Okay. The director stated that this movie is set in 2029 to avoid any conflict with the timeline established in X-Men Days of Futures Past, which took place in 2014, or the movie came out in 2014, takes place in 2024. But the goal was to make a standalone movie that was not bound to any continuing or previous storylines, or setting up any sequels. Sir Patrick Stewart claimed that much of the dialogue at the dinner table between him and Logan was all improvised, and the director actually kind of convinced them to kind of do something like that where they can kind of talk about their glory days. So I think that was pretty cool. Like that part, that's why I like that part so much. It felt like genuine, where they're like kind of laughing and having fun. And yeah, I mean, because like literally they have been working together for 20 years in real life as these characters. I mean, I think they both still have the record for playing like the same character for as long as they have. So especially with you coming back to do it again.
Yeah.
I think the closest person to beating them was probably RDJ. So yeah,
I want to make note real quick that you said that they did this to not do any prequels or set up any sequels.
Yeah.
And they made sure they try not to do that, but I think they did the best job setting up sequels and prequels.
You think so?
Yeah, like definitely a sequel.
No, but
at least a sequel.
At least a sequel for sure.
Well, no, and see, that's the thing. That's where it gets weird, because this is like what we almost need in the MCU to get you out of it, because we know that movies came after this and they were dog shit, and MCU did a good job kind of, we got rid of Steve Rogers, Black Widow, RDJ, but now we still have like some of the original Avengers left, and it's like we need to see that rep. So I think that's a good
the worst fucking Avengers we have left too, but
yeah, but I feel like they did a good job in Endgame sending off Steve Rogers and Iron Man.
They did.
We know they're not coming back.
Oh, 100%. They did. Don't get me wrong. But I need them to see that with like these other characters, like Thor. I need to see him make it to Valhalla.
Who's that?
And this is basically what we got to see with Logan.
Yeah. Hugh Jackman admitted to having two big regrets about retiring from the role of Logan. One of them was that he never appeared in an Avengers movie, and that he's never appeared in a Deadpool movie. Jackman said if he had known that Deadpool in 2016 was going to be such an enormous hit, and his performance as Wolverine was going to be a recurring gag in the movies, he might have postponed his retirement. Because you got to think they were making this in 2016. Deadpool came out in 2016.
That makes sense. And that's how I feel. Like I said, kind of at the beginning of this, if you're gonna bring him back, throw him in this movie. It's not like it's going to be taken serious. He's still Logan, Wolverine. He is gone. Like, I feel like in the eyes of everyone, this is just kind of like a like an after credits scene,
It
an
really is
epilogue of him.
This one I think will truly be fan service, but
Yeah.
like to like a good extent. You know, it's not like Obi-Wan because it's not serious. Like we know the tone of Deadpool
Exactly.
movies, and we know how they work together. And I think this is gonna be fucking perfect. I think
What's
you
the
saying,
release on that?
but the icing on the cake is that they're best friends in real life.
yeah,
Yeah.
So like, dude, it's gonna be so natural for them. They're gonna improvise
Mhm.
almost all of it, and it's
Like
gonna be
Blake
hilarious.
Lively tweeted something at Ryan Reynolds. I don't remember if it was Valentine's Day or whatever, and it was like a picture of Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, remember Hugh Jackman just came out and said when he did that Christmas Carol movie with Will Ferrell, he's like, "Oh, I hope he doesn't win an Emmy or an Oscar or a Grammy." I think that's what it was. He's like, "That motherfucker doesn't deserve it." He's like, "Because that's all I'm gonna hear when we're filming Deadpool
Well, because
3.
Hugh does like The Greatest Showman and
Yeah.
that other movie I forgot what it's called, but that one was really good too, where he's like literally singing
Oh,
and
The
dancing and all
Prestige.
that shit. Yeah, The
Mm.
Prestige. Yeah, I was thinking Prisoners.
Great watch.
No, and to what Andrew said too, like what they did with Multiverse of Madness with like Patrick Stewart, that is a completely different Charles. Like so. I feel like the send off in this movie for Charles like is still that Charles that we grew up with as kids, and so I think it was really cool, and I don't think like Multiverse of Madness ruined it at all. So I agree with what Andrew's saying that I think they can bring Hugh Jackman
Comparing
back.
it to like an end credit scene, Andrew, is like the best way to describe this.
Yeah,
That's kind of how I'm viewing it.
yeah.
I really wish that they just simply wouldn't have fucking told us about Hugh Jackman coming back.
That would have been, yeah.
Imagine
that would
seeing
have actually
that-
been
Dude,
awesome.
I probably would have fucking peed in the theater.
Dude, literally
me too.
imagine
I
not
would've-
seeing it opening day and hearing like obviously we're gonna see it opening day, but
Yeah.
like imagine not like, oh, I love X-Men. Logan was such a great movie, all the X-Men movies, Wolverine's my favorite. And then out of nowhere just hearing, oh my god, you gotta go see Deadpool 3. Like you won't even believe what's going on. And, dude, that shit would
They
go.
could, of these movies, Aiden, I could still see that being thrown in there. But even if it's like something random, the fucking RDJ has a cameo for whatever reason other than just because it's a Deadpool movie.
He's
Or
gonna
even
get
when
one
they
down
go,
the
like-
line too, and I fucking
Or they're even like, don't whatever you do not spoil this movie. Like just like any other was it like the Marvel movies that we saw when they made like a post. Like do
That
not
was
spoil this for
I think that
anyone.
was Infinity War.
Yeah, and
There's that
everyone's like, all right, like now you're like, fuck, now I gotta see it. Like what?
Yeah, you
what's
gotta.
gonna happen?
You're right, Mike. It was
They could do
Endgame.
that with
They were
this.
trying to hold back the Captain America.
I think it was
Thor
both of
hammer
them
thing.
though. I remember.
And I
Infinity War
fucking-
too, like
I
oh, they all
seen-
die.
I seen Steve Rogers get the fucking or not. Yeah, Steve Rogers get fucking Mjolnir, and I seen Hulk get the fucking Infinity
the
Gauntlet.
That's why
That
you don't
Twitter
go
before I
on.
fucking seen the
And then the
movie, bro.
motherfucker
You
sent it to
don't
me.
go on Twitter 2 days before.
I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
see it. I just saw the picture.
I was
and
literally
like,
I was
oh.
ready to throw my phone in the ocean, bro. I was
So I
pissed.
actually, Mike, I had something spoiled for me too, but I was too, I guess, dumb to let it process in my brain. I saw a YouTube thumbnail. I wasn't even on Twitter. You guys know I'm not on Twitter very often. It was a YouTube thumbnail of Iron Man with the gauntlet.
But
But
it was just like a
so
fan
bad,
edit.
dude.
But I thought it looked so shitty. I thought it was a fan edit.
He
And
says,
it
"I
didn't-
am Iron Man."
I didn't.
Yeah,
And
right.
it didn't process until I watched the movie and I went, "Oh shit, I already saw that."
Yeah, I
Uh,
definitely couldn't see Cap like just sitting there, and then you're like, "Oh shit! Here, this is when he gets Mjolnir."
Yeah.
like,
Dude,
fuck.
I swear to God, bro, I was literally ready to fucking cry when I seen that, bro.
Aw. But
He's my favorite character, bro. Go
well,
on, Josh. I'm
You
sorry.
got more
about-
trivia, Josh?
you got more, Josh?
I got two more. These are really
Okay.
good too.
Go on.
Gotcha.
This is the first superhero movie to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay. It is the first superhero movie to be nominated for screenwriting since The Incredibles in 2004. That's pretty
That's
cool.
crazy. What did it go up against? You know,
I made a comparison.
I'm not
about
sure.
that
In
earlier.
2017. You
would it
go
be
look
2018?
Yeah,
Oscars?
2018. Yeah, that's
This
really
is-
cool though. Like, I mean, we were just talking about it like in our group chat about superhero movies not really getting the
The
credit.
Shape
like
of
the
Water.
Batman and
I think our next superhero movie we should actually probably do The Incredibles.
yeah.
Shut up. man.
Upon opening at 4,071 theaters in the United States, this movie became the widest opening R-rated movie in cinema history. It was later surpassed by It in 2017, which opened to 4,103.
That
So about
is
30 more.
disappointing because that movie was bad.
Well,
It
I'm
was
looking at it
bad.
now. The box office, it made over 600 million
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy
for
for a
sure.
rated R movie.
for a rated R movie too.
Yeah.
And then obviously, well, that got surpassed by the Joker.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
the
the Batman was rated R too, right?
No.
Was it not?
It was PG. Oh no, it was rated R.
It was rated R.
I thought it was rated R. Yeah.
The Batman?
What did the Batman make?
I can look it up.
I don't
I
remember
don't know.
Joker being rated R, to be honest.
Wow, what other rating would it have?
I don't remember anything out of pocket.
Oh, no,
you don't remember that apartment scene?
The Batman was PG-13.
Yeah, the Batman was PG-13 for sure.
The
Joker.
I thought. Well, the Joker, yeah, because what's his name gets capped in the face on national TV.
Yeah, De Niro.
De Niro, yeah.
You don't remember that apartment scene in Joker too?
I do remember that now, and he lets the little midget go.
Dude.
All right. You got one more, Josh, or sorry, did you say them all?
No, that's it.
All right. Brian, lead us off.
This was my pick. I'd prefer to go last.
I can go first.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll
go
this this one probably is I said it in the group chat. I think it's probably top 7. I'm not going to say what the other ones are, and I'm not going to say what order they're in. But this one is obviously one of the best superhero movies. It's definitely up there. And you can watch it without really knowing anything. But it's just, I think it's the fact that like I said, I grew up with these characters. Like I watched the original X-Men movies, the original 3, and even like First Class and Days of Futures Past, like so many times. And even X-Men Origins. But that and like, you know, the Spider-Man trilogy, the Raimi movies, like that's what like I grew up with. That's what like got me interested in superhero stuff, and that's what, you know, got me to buy like comic books and all that shit. So you know, seeing the ending for these characters was like heartbreaking, but it was like beautiful, and it was like an amazing send-off for them. And yeah, it was just something like you never really expect that we'd get. You know, the rated R killings, like I said, like the claws going through people's heads and stuff like that was so graphic and looks so incredibly real that I don't know, it like blew my mind. And it's like I'll go back to YouTube every once in a while and just watch clips from this movie. All the action scenes are like insane.
I'm
And
glad
then
it's on
the
Disney
chemistry.
Plus now.
Yeah, it's awesome that's on Disney Plus, and then too they even added like the Deadpool movies too, which is rated R. So it's cool that they got all that stuff. And
Spider-Man's next.
Yeah, I definitely, like I said, like I wouldn't be surprised if like we'd get a rated R Batman movie. Like that'd be cool. You'd think we'd have one by now, honestly. And clearly you can see that like these movies do make money, even with them being rated R. And I think they work. But yeah, even like the soundtrack and everything's great in this movie. So I'm gonna go with a 96. I think this is a really good movie.
All right.
Yeah. I was really excited when Brian mentioned this. I was like, this is a really good superhero movie. A first superhero movie for us to do rewind on. So
all right.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'll go second here. Change it up a little bit. And it makes it easy because we have the same score. I'm also giving it a 96. And I'm doing that. I didn't. So it's a little bit different perspective. Josh, you said you grew up with these movies. You know, you followed them along. I didn't really watch the X-Men movies as much as a kid. I know about them. I have seen a couple of them, but if you told me to name them, I don't think I could with a gun to my head. Maybe if I had multiple choice, I could probably pick out which ones I've seen, but definitely couldn't name them off the top of my head. But I have seen a couple of them, and I've seen some of that universe. With that said, this is still a great movie because it's rated R. We get something that's different, it's brutal, and this is one of those ones that like kind of sticks with you, like as a superhero movie. Like I feel like I can visualize like the whole timeline of this movie, and I've only probably seen it like 3 or 4 times in my whole life. With this recent watch probably being like the 3rd or 4th time, and I like watched it and it was just like I had already seen it. Now the finite details, obviously, you know, you forget, but like I remembered the whole plot watching this movie again. Which means it sticks with me. It's a great superhero movie. It's something a little bit different. It's a great send-off to people as well. And honestly, the actor for Laura, I'm not sure, we mentioned her name earlier.
Daphne Keane.
Thank you, guys. She did an awesome job. Absolutely awesome job, especially if, shoot, she was what? We said 13, 14?
12.
That's 12? Holy cow, that's crazy. So definitely props to that. That was awesome. But yeah, no, feeling confident with a 96 on this one.
Good deal.
I can go next. See, I would originally give this a 96, But I mean, I told you guys earlier that I'm going to base the announcement that Hugh Jackman's obviously reprising his role as Wolverine as a downgrade. So I'm gonna go from
You
96
should on this movie that came out in 2017.
to a 95.
Oh.
I would give this a 95 out of 100.
Fair.
This is probably only the second, maybe third time I've seen this. I remember watching this in the theater when we all went or whoever we were with, and I remember just not even knowing what you were getting into, especially after that opening scene. Like it like you said, it resonates with you. You can look at the starting scene and just or you can remember every scene from here on out after that. And it's just like, damn, like there's not a lot of movies that you can do that with. And absolutely love Hugh Jackman. I thought Patrick Stewart did an absolutely outstanding job, acting old and like acting like he has like dementia and obviously all the health effects that he has after that incident that happened where they registered his mind as a WMD. But Daphne Keene's great. I believe all the roles are good. Caliban, I feel like he doesn't get a lot of hype or he doesn't get like a lot of props for his role. Great ass actor. Like even when you see him on screen, you're like, damn, like he just looks fucking weird. It makes that reference to Nosferatu just hilarious. But blood, guts, swearing, everything that you want in a movie or like a superhero movie. And I mean, there's not one thing you can even nitpick from this movie realistically, from start to finish. So I enjoyed it. I'm glad that I rewatched it, and I'll probably rewatch it not too long from now. So pretty soon I'll rewatch it again because it's one of my favorite superhero movies of all time.
I want to add something.
Go ahead.
Before the next two guys go, I want to say that all three of us, Josh, myself, and you, Aiden, we all just said like this is a great superhero movie. If you're listening, you have probably seen this movie, I imagine. But if you haven't and you don't like superhero movies, this is still a good movie. Like you don't even have to like superhero movies to enjoy the movie.
The story from the beginning. Yeah. Like me, especially, like I said, I've seen pieces of them. I've probably seen them all, but I just don't remember any of them. You go and you're like, oh, this is like a fresh start.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
but I love it, especially X-24. Can't forget about that. Like I said, that farm scene was my favorite, man, because there's just so much shit going on, and it's just balls to the wall.
Yeah, well, I'll piggyback off that, and I'll toss it to Brian when I'm done. But this is a really good fucking movie, man. You guys pretty much hit everything on the nail, man, with the hammer. I I think I really wish yeah, same shit. I really wish that Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart didn't come back for Multiverse of Madness and Deadpool, to be honest with you. And I really wish that I seen all of the original X-Men movies leading up into this, because I think it would have resonated with me a little bit more, and their send-offs would have been more meaningful and sentimental to me, kind of like Josh from his perspective. But as a standalone movie, like this is, like Andrew said, this is simply just a really good fucking movie. And even if you're not a comic book movie fan, like by all means, like just still go and see this, because just the theme of this with the dark and the gory kills, and just the overall great performances by just the actor who plays X-23, Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, Richard Grant, and just to name a couple, like it really is kind of hard to top something like this. I agree that I think this is, I'll go as far as like a top 10 comic book movie of all time. I'm not going to put anything in any order or name any in that top 10, but besides that, that farm scene is cool as hell, even though it was a little disorganized in my opinion. But I really like the last scene when it comes to Logan fighting X-24. I thought that was the absolute sweetest shit this movie did. Just seeing him, Hugh Jackman versus Hugh Jackman, that shit was so cool. But with all that said, I'm gonna go 92 out of 100, even though that might seem a little bit lower. This is still a great movie to me, and I think it gets that low of a score just because the sentimental value and just the care I had for the characters and the actors in this movie just simply aren't there, because I haven't seen any of the X-Men, or I didn't even see this in theaters or when it came out.
All right, piggybacking off everything everyone said. Out the gate, this movie is getting a 98 from me. If you would have asked me when we first watched it and walked out of the theater, easy 100. But I 98 comfortably. This is just like everyone's been saying, this is just such a great fucking send off. And then, like I said, I think this is the number 2 superhero movie, like behind The Dark Knight, because The Dark Knight was just so fucking good. But when you take a movie like Logan and then you take a movie like Deadpool, and again with both of them being rated R, this is like the first time that like it was almost like nerds got to take control. They kind of said fuck the numbers, let's give the people what they actually wanted to see. And like again, going into it, like Josh said, like growing up with these fucking movies, like I remember when it first got announced, all of us talking about it, and like even me and my uncle going back and forth about how like we're excited for it, but it's also sad as shit to know that Hugh Jackman's done and Patrick Stewart probably is going to come back. Like that is just it was hard at the time, but after you get out of that movie, you're like, fuck, like I'd be okay to never see them again. And then to think like, oh, him being in Deadpool 3 like takes points off, like I think that's just silly. I think that makes it even fucking better. Like again,
Fuck you,
oh,
Brad.
it's a different timeline and people are like that's a cop out, but no, that's really what it is. And again, Deadpool 3 again is just a fan service, which is what Logan and the first Deadpool was, and I'm totally okay with that. So all in all, great fucking movie. Even if you're not into superhero movies, go and watch that shit. If you can find it on DVD and watch it in black and white, let us know what you think about that. I feel like that'd bring a whole different vibe to it. The scene that we forgot about is when they're sitting in the hotel room and that Western's on about like changing a man, and then she says that to him because that's really all she knows. I thought that was fucking adorable. And I know the first time I watched it and the second time I watched it, I definitely teared up. This time I was watching it while I was working, so I didn't really get too into it, but it was still like an emotional scene. Like I just kind of stopped working for like 10 minutes. It's like, God damn it. Like here we are once again. I knew it was coming. And then as soon as he says, so this is what it feels like, it's like, ah, damn. But yeah, 98. Thank you for letting us talk about this movie. Again, I was itching to watch it. So this worked out very nicely.
No, I do want to add one thing. It's literally like a take on a Quentin Tarantino superhero movie. I don't know if you guys can agree with that, but it's like gory, swearing, literally everything that you can take out of a Tarantino movie and bring it to your favorite genre.
I think the only thing you're missing in this movie is the racism that he brings in his movies, to be honest.
Quentin Tarantino brings a certain type of racism to the movies.
Yeah, but that was our Logan review. We'll be back Friday. We're doing 65 and Shazam, Gods of Fury. So yeah, should be a fun episode.
I will be on Shazam only to give it.
So you got a 54?
I hope the lowest score I've ever given on the podcast goes to Shazam. We'll see.
It's lower than Ant-Man.
Blonde. If that shit's lower than Blonde, Andrew, I'm gonna hate you.
I wasn't on the Blonde episode.
And maybe we could do
saved the 3.5 hours.
He has 5 owners. Maybe we could do a review on the Wolverine game when we get it here pretty soon.
Yeah,
dude,
we could just do a playthrough.
I gotta get that shit, bro.
When does it come
out?
It's
not out yet, Mike. It's
I
know.
It's next year. I'm saying I gotta get that shit when it comes out. Is what I'm saying. I forgot.
Oh yeah. You gotta play the Spider-Man movies too, or the games, and the last games.
No, I like because the Wolverine game starts off with like a man at a bar slashes like multiple people or whatever. Yeah, it's just about to be sick.
But all right, guys, thank you. This was a Logan, a Brian pick. I think it was a good one.
Good job, Brian.
Preach.
In the next one.
Love you, Brian.
Love you guys.
See you, boys.
Love you. I'm gonna go.